What is going on, guys? Miles here, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to unlock the new DLC weapons in Call of Duty World War II. So a couple of days ago, a new event was added to COD World War II called Attack of the Undead, and with this event there was a total of 7 DLC weapons added into the game. We have the Type 2, the PTRS, the Fire Axe, the Blunderbuss, the Claymore, the Stinger, as well as the Lever Action. So a lot of guns have been added into the game, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to unlock them and the most efficient way to do so. Unlocking DLC weapons in COD World War II is typically quite a long process, and with this event, like I said, 7 weapons were added into the game, so trying to get all of these weapons is going to be very difficult to do so. But after looking at recent trends in the game, I've came up with a plan on how to efficiently unlock all of these weapons. But bear in mind, this method is still going to take a very long time to do, but it is much more reasonable than spending like $100 on supply drops and just hoping you get lucky. And the way I'm going to get these DLC weapons is through the contracts in the game, and over the last month or so, Sledgehammer Games have actually been adding DLC weapon variants into the contract system, and typically there has been one contract per week which costs 5,000 armory credits, and if you complete it, you unlock a variant for a DLC weapon, and they've been doing this I believe for the last like 4 weeks or so. Currently there is a contract for the M2 carbine. Last week there was a contract for the Type 38, and the week before that there was one for the Sterling, and the week before that there was one for the ITRA. And you guys may have noticed all of the weapons which I mentioned earlier were a part of the Blitzkrieg event, which was the previous event in the game. So if I am correct with my guessing, then once they finish cycling through the Blitzkrieg event weapons, they're going to start going through the new Undead weapons. So if we assume Sledgehammer Games is going to continue adding DLC weapons into the contracts, then they should start adding weapons for the Undead event into the contracts in about 3 weeks time, because next week there should be a contract for the Type 5, and then after that there should be one for the baseball bat, which I believe hasn't been in there yet. And once those two are finished, they have added every Blitzkrieg event into the contracts, and then they should start with the Undead weapons. At least I'm hoping so. And if you guys want to get the DLC weapons through the contracts, then you're going to need 5,000 armory credits per week, because that is the cost of every contract for the DLC weapons thus far. And getting 5,000 armory credits per week is actually very easy to do. You can actually do it by just logging into the game to get your daily bonus, and then by collecting your payroll twice a day. Or if you only collect your payroll once, you can do a daily order to get 300 armory credits, and they're very easy to do as well. And the contract challenges themselves are actually very easy to do. The hardest one so far has been to get like 10 headshots within 1 hour, which is pretty simple to do. You can do that in like 1 game of shipment domination. So the challenge themselves isn't very difficult to do, and saving up the credits isn't very difficult to do. So this method seems to be a very good idea if you're just patient with it, because it is going to take quite a long time, as you can only get 1 DLC weapon per week. So if Sledgehammer Games do add all of the DLC weapons into the contracts eventually, then you can get all of the weapons from this event by only spending 35,000 armory credits, which is a very good deal, and in my opinion it is definitely worth the wait. If you don't want to do these contracts, then the other options you have is to either go through the collections or buy a ton of supply drops and hope you get lucky. But I'll go through the collections quickly in case you guys are interested in them, because there may be like 1 DLC weapon which you really want and you don't want to wait for the contract. And if that's the case, then fair enough. I think it's okay to buy like 1 DLC weapon through the collections, but they are very expensive, so I wouldn't recommend buying a lot of weapons through the collections. But let's quickly go over the prices of these DLC weapons in the collection. So the Type 2 costs 24,000 armory credits, the PTRS is 23,000, the Fire Axe is just over 13,000, the Blunderbuss is almost 21,000, the Claymore sword is almost 15,000, the Stinger is around 19.6 thousand, and finally the Lever Action costs 21,000 armory credits. So these are pretty damn expensive, and if you want to create every variant in the collection, then you're going to have to spend like 130,000 armory credits, which is pretty absurd, and I'm pretty sure like nobody in the game has that many credits to spare. But if you are going to create these variants, one tip I have for you guys is to save them until the very last day of the event, because as you're opening up supply drops during the event, you can get items for the collections which will save you a bunch of armory credits. And one other thing to note with the collections is that if you are going to use them, I would recommend only creating variants for the Type 2, the PTRS as well as the Fire Axe, because those weapons are actually listed under the Undead category, which means you only have a limited amount of time to create them. You only have until I believe June the 24th when the event officially ends. Whereas for the other DLC weapons, which are the Blunderbuss, the Claymore, the Stinger and the Lever Action, these DLC weapons are actually listed under the Operation Overlord, which means you actually have unlimited time to create them. And one last tip I have for you guys about getting these DLC weapons is that when there's no event going on in the game, make sure you guys are saving up all of your supply drops and all of your armory credits. Obviously you can't do that with this current event because I'm making this video as the event has already started, so you can't really save them up, but make sure you do it for the next event, and in particular save any heroic weapon bribes you guys get when there is no event going on, because those supply drops have a much better chance of giving a DLC weapon due to the lack of heroic variants in the game. But there we have it, they are all of the ways which you can unlock the new DLC weapons which were added with the Attack of the Undead event. The best method is definitely to go through the contracts, but like I said, it does take a very long time to do so, so you have to be very patient with it. But if you have a lot of credits to burn, then I guess going through the collections isn't a bad idea either. But hopefully you guys found this video useful. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Call of Duty, but I'll see you guys in another video.